Hello everybody, welcome to another Eternal Deck Tech. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Big shout out, as usual, to all the subs and followers and stuff, both on Twitch and on YouTube who help me do this. And of course, my sponsor, inkgaming.com, where they do a lot of cool custom mouse pads and playmats and other really cool gaming gear. I've got a store there, and you can check down below for a promo code and 12% off. But I want to jump into the games right away here and the deck. This is a deck that is based off of a sub-submitted deck from Dinghammer. So I want to just give them a little bit of a shout out. I made very minor changes to the deck. Almost none at all, because it's just kind of awesome. You've probably seen this before, and it's not a deck that I'm expecting to win a lot with. I've been playing it a lot. I'm probably, I'm not going to lie, at best probably 50% win rate with it. But I mean, that's not bad. It's in Masters. And it's just stupid fun. It's really fun to play around with because every game is a little different. Welcome to Swap Meet. The reason why every game's a little different is because of Nictotraxian. Because every time you draw Nictotraxian, you create and draw a random card. So you might have seen these kinds of decks before if you've known Eternal for a while, and especially once the Merchants came out, a lot of people tried to do this. So getting something from your market counts as drawing it. Hey, Nictotraxian. So we have a Nictotraxian in the market and Nictotraxians in the main deck, and then you use Merchants. So every Merchant you get, you swap a Nictotraxian for a Nictotraxian. Create random cards. That on its own isn't actually that interesting. It's pretty cool, but it's not amazing. Where it's really fun is when you had Crown of Possibilities. Because when you get Echo Nictotraxians, and you're getting like other units that also might get Echo or can get Destiny or all kinds of things like that, then we start getting the ball rolling. A lot of the decks that run this style of thing have been trying to run every Merchant in existence and just try and go 5 colors, and then they're really inconsistent. This deck is a lot smarter than that. This deck runs 8 Merchants, but it runs them in the colors that are both like good for Inspire, because again, every single time that you draw it, getting it out of your market is a draw, so you can make it very cheap. And you can do things like Alhed, so you can double the attack and you can double the health of them. So you can do things like that with the time. And with the Primal, you get access to things like Mirror Image and Twinning Ritual and Second Sight, so that you can do shenanigans with all of the Merchants, where sure, we have 8 Merchants, but realistically, we Twinning Ritual a Merchant. We Mirror Image a Merchant. We have a lot more than that. We actually have very close, if not more than 16 Merchants. Because we're talking about Nictotraxian getting all of these abilities like Echo. But honestly, the best games that I've had with this deck are where you put a couple of Merchants back on top, or you Twinning Ritual your Merchants a couple times, and you already have a crown, and you get Echo Merchants. And once you start getting Echo Merchants, this basically becomes infinite, and you just get to be pulling Nictos out over and over and over. Or you can get, like, Echo Merchant on Merchant, and you can just flip them back and forth over and over. So you can put, like, a Merchant into your market with a Merchant, then pull it out of your Merchant with another Merchant, they echo, and you just, like, replace itself over and over and over. You can do all kinds of cool things like that. Another neat thing about, like, Alhed, and specifically the time stuff, is the ultimate on Alhed. So the ultimate is to pay for, put one of your other units on top of your deck, which normally doesn't come up all that often. I mean, it is basically card disadvantage, except when you have Merchants, and especially once they have Echo. Nictotraxian and Merchants are really cool things to put back on top. I had a game last night, actually, where I drew Alhed off of Crown of Possibilities on, like, turn 6. And it turn 6 or 7, and so it was like Deadly and Echo, and I immediately put it into play, and I got up to a PowerPoint where what I could do is play Alhed, play an Alhed, return the one Alhed back to the top, and it would get Echo again. And I would just keep doing that over and over and over and over. So I had a loop where I wasn't drawing any cards anymore except Alhed, slightly larger every time. And my opponent eventually just had to quit. It was absolutely amazing. So this deck is a lot of fun. It's, like I said, I expect to win 2 out of the 5 games, but they're gonna be good games. So we're gonna jump right on in and see how things go. It's a pretty straightforward deck. Like, you've got your card draw, you have your Second Sights to put things back on top and redraw them, you have your Twinning Rituals to make copies, your Mirror Image to make copies, and you're trying to make copies generally of the Merchants. Most of the time with your first merchant, you're going to get Crown of Possibilities, unless you already have one, and then after that you start swapping Nictotraxians. So that's kind of the idea there. Amaran Camel is to give you a little bit of game against some of the aggro decks. I cut them out a little bit from the original list. The original list did have 4 of them, and sometimes it's nice to draw 1 or maybe 2, and it's really bad to draw like 3 or 4, is kind of the reason why I did that. It's an interesting spot to be in with the Camel, but again, it all counts as draws, so sometimes you can be at a pretty low life total, and then you hit a merchant, and you go for a Nictotraxian with Echo, and it goes, okay, Nictotraxian with Echo, and then you also get 2 cards, and some of those might have Echo. You can gain like 5 life off of a Camel in a single draw. So it's pretty sweet. You can do some cool things like that. In any case, I'm going to jump into the games, and I hope you enjoy this as much as I do. Again, big shout out to all the people that supported us through the recent charity stream, and of course, just in a general basis. This is my full-time job, and you subbing, following the channel really helps me keep doing it, so thank you very much.